I've been part of a team that's gone on to win 3 in a row. It's crazy, really, and you kind of forget about it sometimes.
Like all the guys that I played with growing up through the years, like we're all still friends and everything. So it really is like it's a good family sense and a good community sense.
We had won in All Ireland in 97, 99, 2000. It's more local at your club. You know everyone, you know the setup. It's different than joining a county panel.
It was nearly like a kind of statement to say, we're here, we're ready to play. No one's going to push us over this year.
This podcast is sponsored by Declan Kirby GAA Star. Declan Kirby GAA Star is a children's GAA book written by primary school teacher and GAA coach Michael Egan. Follow the trials and tribulations of Declan Kirby and his team at Smithgreen Gaelic Football Club. The book is a very good read for any parents who are looking to get their children involved in Gaelic games. The book is available in Easons, Lidl and all good bookshops. It's also available to download on Amazon, so make sure to go and check it out. They're very good supporters of the channel and the page, so you'd certainly be doing me a good favour as well if you went ahead and checked the book out. So I do very much appreciate it. The link is in the description down below, and let's get straight into it. We'll move on to the Cork Senior Football Final then. Of course, happening, well, next weekend, but obviously this weekend by the time this recording's coming out. I mean, you've obviously got St Finbarrs in there, of course, coming into the final. I mean, this will be against Clonakilty. This will be a very interesting game as well. I mean, and obviously that semi-final that we were speaking about a little bit off air between St Finbarrs and Castlehaven finished 3-16 each, went to penalties. I mean, that sounded like, I suppose, a crazy game altogether. You know, you had Brian Hurley, you know, shooting the lights out at one end. You had Stephen Sherlock at the other end. I mean, end-to-end stuff. I mean, that sounded like a crazy game altogether.
It was absolutely mental. And you could hear the expression in Patrick Mulcahy, the commentator in the Irish Examiner's voice. Like, you know, that's the way we were all feeling. It was absolutely end-to-end stuff. And I was mentioning off air as well, I was at my sister's boiler championship game, so I didn't actually watch the full game, but I was checking on Twitter and looking at the reactions on Twitter. It was end-to-end stuff, and it was superb. And I was watching the last minute. Brian Hurley had a 45, and geez, the drama towards the end, and Hurley kicked that. And Castlehaven were actually 3 points up going towards the end of extra time, and somehow the Bars pulled it back. Like, the tenacity for the likes of Ian Maguire, Conor McCrickard, who was a down senior. I don't know why he's come down here, but anyway. Stephen Sherlock, Killian Myers-Murray. Like, the tenacity for the Bars team. Brian Hayes is another player, and another player like Patrick Harkin that probably shouldn't have played in the semi-final. He got a red card against Rogue, and it got rescinded. Like, I could even see that was definitely a straight red card, and how it got rescinded, I don't know. But the Bars did it anyway. They pulled it off, and he was one of the changing players in that team. But obviously, you have to look at Stephen Sherlock. Like, geez, what a player. Like, ever since he got dropped in the Cork team in 2019 after that Super A campaign, he's improved game on game for the Bars. He's been absolutely outstanding. And Brian Hurley as well, not just yesterday, no, but throughout the championship in Cork, the two of those guys, it's like Messi and Ronaldo in the Cork Senior Football Championship. It's been absolutely outstanding. Like, Sherlock would get an outstanding goal down one end. Brian Hurley would kick a sideline in down the other end. Like, it's absolutely incredible. And it's great for Cork football that these players are definitely showing up, because it gives Keith Rickon a lot of options going forward. But yeah, it's been an absolutely crazy championship. And even going back to Douglas beating Nemo as well, like, you wouldn't have expected Nemo to go out in the group stage, lose to the Valley Rovers in the first game. Like, it's been an absolutely incredible championship, much like the club championships around the country, and absolutely love it. It's been absolutely entertaining throughout the championship, not just yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's very much fitting into the team across all club championships, really, where, you know, the county champions are getting beaten by one team, and then they're not even the team that goes on and reaches the final. Like, you've seen that in Dublin when Ballymun lost to Lucan, and then Lucan losing the semi-finals, and that seems to be the case in Cork as well, where Nemo Rangers are probably the team on, like, they're the team that most people know about. They're the team that probably has, in most people's eyes, the best players or the best team, and they lose to Douglas, but then Douglas obviously get beat following on in the next round. So it seems like a very open championship, and like Castlehaven were in the final last year and they obviously got beat now in the semi-final. So it does seem like a bit like maybe like the Tyrone and Armagh, just all the kind of senior football championships out there, that really any side could really win this if they can build a bit of momentum.
Absolutely, that's the point. And prime example of this is probably Clonakilty. Like, they weren't that good last year. They only finished in the group stage. They were quite a flattered to deceive as the years went on. But they built momentum in the group stage, and people thought, seriously, are Clonakilty going to make the final? They then come back from the date against Duhallow in the quarterfinals, and then they beat Douglas in the semi-finals, who beat Nemo Rangers. And pretty comprehensively, like, they were 5 points up until Anne O'Hare scored 1-1 towards the end of the game, a penalty and a free. And that put it right back in the penalty pot at the end. So Clon is a major example of this. Probably people would have expected St Finbarrs because of the players they have, obviously. The likes of Ian Maguire, Stephen Sherlock, Conor McQuickard, Brian Hayes, John Curran, the goalkeeper, Sam Ryan, the full back. Like, they've been absolutely outstanding. I've been lucky enough to watch the Bars in pretty much all their games this season, and they were a bit like the Glen at the start. Like, they were just doing enough. Like, against Illan Rovers in a game down at Bandascarty, they were very poor, I thought, the Bars. So I thought Illan probably should have beat them. And it goes around the road, but actually Illan Rovers got relegated for the Senior A Championship at Cork. So that is incredible in that sense. And they got close to the Bars. Ballincollig could have beat them at Parky Rin as well. Like, I suppose the last game actually was St Finbarrs against Clonakilty. So they actually played each other in the group stage. The Bars winning by 7 points that day, 112-1-5. But then the Bars started to turn on the style in the quarterfinals against Éire Óg. In the second half, really, after 10 minutes, they were losing by 7 points to 1. And this Éire Óg, another story, Éire Óg, like, they came from the second tier championship last season. It's their first ever year in senior in Cork. And they've done absolutely brilliantly in this championship. And you would have thought at that point, is this team going to go even further? Is this another story to tell in the club championship all over the country? And alas, it wasn't. The Bars pulled it out of the bag with a goal towards the end. Like, and then against Castlehaven, they were absolutely outstanding yesterday. I suppose most people would have thought that's a bit of exaggeration considering they actually drew the game, but both sides were outstanding. It's end to end. Castlehaven have brilliant players as well. Don't forget the likes of the Hurleys, the likes of Mark Collins, the likes of Jack Cahalane, the youngster in that team, Damien Cahalane, of course. So it was Titan against Titan yesterday in that semi-final between the Bars and Castlehaven. But as I said, the Bars have just gradually moved into the championship, and Clon have been the surprise package in the Cork Senior Football Championship.
Yeah, like when you look at Castlehaven's team, you see a whole host of county stars. When you look at Nemo Rangers' team, you see a whole host of county stars. When I look at Finbarrs and Clonakilty, I don't really see too many county stars in there, like no real big names or standout names that really jump out. So I'd imagine at the same time, like, this is probably a good thing for Cork football, because there's a lot of players who are putting their hands up to the new management, Keith Ricken. Like, as you said, Stephen Sherlock, maybe he gets back in with a shout or something like that. Like, he looks very good as well. Like, he scored 210 in that semi-final against Castlehaven. So, I mean, 210 of their 316 is a very impressive return.
Absolutely. He's been doing it for years for St Finbarrs, and he's only really got noticed for his brilliant play now. And I suppose for Clonakilty, that point, I'd agree with Jaron, but St Finbarrs, look at their team, I actually would disagree. You look at their talented team, Brian Hayes, Ian Maguire, Conor McQuickard, who's a down senior. I suppose that doesn't help Cork in any way, but still he's a down senior inter-county player, so he is a very good player. You look at Stephen Sherlock as well, Killian Myers-Murray, who's been in and around the Cork team over the last few years. He probably should get a call-up as well, even to start on the bench. Sam Ryan at full-back. Like, there's still some very good players in that team. Not as much, obviously, as Castlehaven or Debo, arguably, or even Douglas, the likes of Powter and Flahiver on that team. So I suppose, judging by that, the Bars are probably, a good team unit. But definitely I agree with you on Clonakilty. Like, you could argue that Clonakilty's defence is brilliant. You look at Thomas Clancy, Dan Peat, who was a minor in 2019, Maurice Shanley, Mark White, the goalkeeper, who's like Stephen Cluxton in this championship. Like, every opportunity he gets to go up the field, he give and go up the field, up to the opposition's 45 and try and get a score. Like, he's absolutely unbelievable in this championship in that way. And I suppose, look at Clonakilty's forwards. They aren't the strongest boys. But I suppose, and you talk about players putting their hands up, there is definitely one for Clonakilty, I think. Their wing forward, Sean McAvoy. He scored 1-7 from play in the championship. He scored 4 points from play against Douglas in the semi-final. He was absolutely superb. And I suppose people would say this is good for Cork football, but you look at the Clonakilty team as well. Their number 11, their number 8, and their number 9 aren't actually from Cork. In fact, 2 of them are from Kerry. So, and then one of them's actually from, I'm not sure, Offaly or Kildare. Like a friend's saying he's from Kildare. The commentators on the Irish Examiner saying from Offaly, Ben Ridgway. I don't know, but still he's from Leinster. And you look at the 2 clan players from Kerry, Joe Grimes and Darragh O'Shea have been instrumental for Clon over the last few years. They've definitely showed their form this year. So I suppose the main trouble for St Finbarrs in this game I'd assume would be to break down that Clon defence, because they have county stars in that team. Others I haven't mentioned, Sean White, Liam O'Donovan there as well. So that's a very good crop of players. But I suppose the place where Clon will be lacking is the forwards. I suppose Sean McAvoy, as I've said, Conor Daly, but he's only 18 years of age. He's one of their main forwards. He's 18. Like, that's absolutely unbelievable, and he will be a player for the future in Cork. I've no doubt about that. So, look, it'll be a very interesting final. And another thing to point out as well, the last time Clonakilty won a county title in 2009, their opponents in the final, St Finbarrs. Like, that is absolutely incredible. It goes around in roundabouts, really.
Yeah, I suppose like what you said there, like Darragh O'Shea, he looks like a very good footballer. Like, he has a very Kerry sounding name, and I was kind of thinking, is he from Kerry? Is he from Cork? I wasn't sure, but yeah, like what you said, I guess he is from Kerry then, and that probably does make sense, to be fair, because he did look like a highly talented footballer, no doubt about it. And like what you said with Clonakilty, like plenty of talent all around the pitch, a lot of young players coming through. And 2009, since they last won a Cork Senior Football Championship. So I'd imagine they're the surprise package really coming into this final. Like, probably not many tip them to go on this run and make the final.
Nobody. I don't think even people in Clonakilty. Like, I live very near Clonakilty. I've been in school in Clonakilty. I've worked there. Like I don't think the people actually there expected Clonakilty to make the final. And the fact they did is absolutely incredible. But you look at the players they have at the team, maybe it's a bit late for them to make the final, arguably, but still better late than never. And I suppose they've grown their way into this championship. Like, they hammered it in the first game. Then against Ballincollig, apparently I was talking to someone and it was an unbelievable victory. Like, they were cheering all over the pitch after that win against Ballincollig by a point. The Bars game was only at the top of the group, so a bit of a beating in this game, really. Against Duhallow, people thought Clon were just out of it. Like, they were 5 points down, I think, with 10 minutes to go, and they pulled it out of the bag incredibly to go on and win that game. Like, a few of those players, Joe Grimes, Liam O'Donovan, Sean White, were absolutely brilliant in driving that Clon team. Mark White in goal, obviously, gallivants out the field and trying to help his teammates. Like, it's absolutely incredible from them. And against Douglas, usually people would have thought about Clon so far in the championship that they're a defensive team. They'll shut up shop. They'll play to their strengths. But against Douglas, in fairness, they went for them. They went for them in a very good way. Like, I've even mentioned Sean McAvoy, who scored 4 points. Ross Malik scored 2 points as well. Ben Ridgway, Joe Grimes. I think Joe Grimes got the score sheet against Duhallow, I'm not sure. But all of them were contributing. They were doing absolutely brilliant. And obviously, living near Clonakilty for all of my life, really, like, I hope they actually do well. I really hope they do well. It'll be great for the area, because 2009 for a tourist town like Clonakilty to last win a Cork Senior Football Championship it's way too long. And incredibly, I think this Clon team is better than the one in 09. Like, incredibly, the one in 09 I don't think featured any Cork Senior football players. Whereas this team has Liam O'Donovan, the White brothers and Sean and Mark, Maurice Shanley, Dan Pease, who could be on there in a couple of years, Sean McAvoy, Conor Daly. So they definitely have a better team, I think, than 09. Like, the 09 team were a bit of a workman-like team. This team has the quality. Like, can they be the Bars? I'm not so sure, because of the Bars' extra quality all over the field. But one thing I do know about Clonakilty, they'll give it a real good go in this final.
Yeah, and I suppose for Clonakilty in particular, like we were saying before, 2009 since they last won it. So I can imagine maybe there's probably, like compared with Finbarrs, like they last won it in 2018. So Finbarrs probably coming in with a bit more experience. They've probably been there. They've done it. They've come through this championship before, whereas Clonakilty haven't done so. And maybe in some ways that might help them because, you know, they're coming in fresh and they're not coming in having lost finals or anything like that. So, I mean, there's so many interesting permutations, I suppose, all across the pitch for this game.
There very much is. But I suppose the main aspect would be the Clon defence and the Bars attack. Like the Bars have, some of their players have hit the lights out in the championship so far. I've mentioned, obviously, Sherlock is the obvious one. Killian Myers-Murray, Conor McCrickard, and they'll be coming up against the likes of Boris Shanley, Dan Peace, Thomas Clancy, the White St. Sean, and the goalkeeper Mark, Liam O'Donovan, Owen Deasy, who's been outstanding for centre back as well. So, look, it'll be tough for the Bars to get past this team. And you need players like Sean McAvoy, Conor Daly, Ross Mannix, Jack O'Malley to have the games of their lives really to win this game. And I suppose the bench is another big factor. And I suppose the Bars definitely have the stronger bench. Like Clonakilty, a lot of their players are around my age. So I suppose they'd be younger, more inexperienced. You look at the Bars bench, they feature a certain Michael Shields. He's nearing 40 years of age and he's still playing for the Bars. He's been an unbelievable servant for that club down through the years, and he will add steel into that team if things go wrong. So, look, I think the Bars will be stronger on the bench. I think they're stronger. They have a stronger attack, but defensively, I think Clon might have the edge defensively, and that might be an advantage to Clon. They can disrupt the Bars really, and then focus on the other players like Darragh O'Shea, Sean McAvoy, Conor Daly, and all of them to go and attack the Bars. Like, they've nothing to lose. Like, Clon are the underdogs in this game. They've been the underdogs throughout the championship really, and I've been hearing. One of their coaches in an interview after the Duhallow game, and he was saying the underdogs tag suits Clonakilty down to a T. It will in this final, definitely, and they'll definitely go for it. Like, again, what do they have to lose? Like, they're underdogs in this game. No one expects Clonakilty to go out and win this game. So go on and win and go on and go for some. Look, the worst that can happen is if they lose, but I suppose to get to this final this year is a big achievement for Clonakilty, and I hope they do it anyway, but again, the Bars, the quality they have, it will be difficult, but again, Clon have nothing to lose and they will go for it. They'll give 100%.
And ultimately then, where do you see this game being won and lost? And I suppose, what's your prediction for winning this game?
I would say the Bars is going to win this game. I would say the Bars just about. I think Clon will give it 110%. They'll throw their bodies on the line for the cause. They'll do absolutely everything to try and win this game. But I just think the Bars just have enough. You look at Brian Hayes, Stephen Sherlock, Ian Maguire, John Kearns, the goalkeeper, Sam Ryan. They have players all over the pitch that can make a difference, a bit like Middleton in the hurling. And it'll be difficult for Clonakilty. But having said that, Montbelly Moylock won in Galway, Clonairon won in Armagh, Ballymun got knocked out in Dublin, East Kerry got knocked out in Kerry. Anything's possible in the club championship, and Clon will be looking at tapes of them games and coming up with a plan. And their manager, Hawley O'Neill, I'm sure will, because he's a tactically astute coach. And look, again, Clon have nothing to lose in this game. I knowing this club championship, I'll probably be wrong in this prediction, but I think the Bars will just have enough in this game. But as a West Cork man, I hope Clonakilty win the game in the end, and there'll be some party in Clonakilty, as Marty Morrissey would say, if they of course win it. But look, and believe me, everyone in Clonakilty, that town will probably be deserted that day, and they will go up and support their team in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. But I think the Bars will just have enough. But again, looking at the club results all over the country this season, especially this season, I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, I suppose what did Marty Morrissey say? There won't be a cow milked in Clare for at least a week, so maybe it'll be something similar in Clonakilty or that part of Cork. Like, And I mean, yeah, like what you said, like the obvious predictions really in the club football and hurling championships. Like I think we've seen that the obvious predictions are no longer the obvious predictions, because you're seeing like I think like there hasn't been too many favourites that have actually come through their respective club championships. I don't think. Maybe you're looking at Westmeath, like you've got two sides in there, and St. Lomans and Gary Castle, who are kind of generally always thereabouts. But generally speaking, a lot of the favourites have lost. Like you think of that in Derry as well, the Derry Football Championship, the same in Armagh. Okay, fair enough, Kilcue came through down, and you're looking at Dublin. We'll see what happens there. So, I mean, there's a lot of motivation there definitely for Clonakilty to go and pull it off. But like what you said, Finbarrs are probably the seasoned team. Like they have won it in 2018, so they do have that experience. Like they've been there and they do know how to win these Cork championships.
And they've been there and thereabouts for years now. Like 2017, they lost the final to Nemo after a replay. They were very unlucky to lose it. 2018, they won it. 2020, they lost in a penalty shootout again to Castlehaven in the semi-finals. They lost that game, so maybe it was a bit of a redemption mission yesterday to try and win that penalty shootout. So, look, they've had their hearts broken before, other than 2018, of course. They know what it takes to win that game, being there, doing that in 2018. Whereas Clonakilty have always finished in the group stage in Cork. Like, this is really their first year, more or less, in the knockout stages since the group stages have come in. And it will be difficult for them. But again, they have nothing to lose in this game. The Bars, as you said correctly, they are the seasoned team. They know what it takes to win a championship. They've been there before. They've been in plenty of finals and semi-finals. They've been so close over the years. They probably should have won 2 or 3 championships over the last few years, in all honesty. So, look, I think the Bars will win this game. Obviously, as a West Cork man, I hope Clonakilty win it, but it remains to be seen. But it will be an absolutely brilliant game, and I hope to go up to it as well. It'll be an absolute cracker of a game. I hope it will anyway. And Patrick Mulcahy will probably lose his voice by the time the game finishes up.
Yeah, I can imagine so, definitely. Like, and who would you see then? Like, because obviously, whoever comes through this obviously goes into the Munster Club Football Championship. I was just having a look there to see who the Cork champ. I think the Cork champions will be playing either the winner of Clare and Tipperary, from according to Wikipedia there. Anyway, I just had a quick look. So how like in terms of who is to come through this, I mean, could you see them pushing on in the Munster Club Football Championship as well? And like Nemo Rangers, I suppose, have a great record and getting to All Ireland finals. They had a brilliant record there for years, and like what we were saying earlier, Douglas beat them, and then obviously Douglas were beating themselves. So I suppose like for either one of these two sides that comes through, I'm sure to be looking at, I suppose, pushing on and making it out of Munster.
Absolutely. I suppose that won't be a walk in the park either, whoever comes out, Clonakilty or the Bars. They'll be facing the Tip champions or the Clare champions. Aero Ennis is the Clare champions that was announced over the last few weeks. The Tipperary finals this weekend, probably Clonmel Commercials, but don't worry out not more Castleiney either. They could even win a double. Like, they've been an incredible club down through the years, but you'd probably expect St Finbarrs especially to go on and win that game. And then the final, like Kerry, I don't know what's going to happen. I think, as far as I know, St Brendan's, if they win the Kerry Championship, Austin Sachs will go into it. If they lose on Saturday, that's live on RT against Austin Sachs, then the winner of that championship will go on. Like, it could be Dr. Crokes, it could be Kieran's O'Reilly's or Austin Sachs. So that'll be a tough game for the Cork champions. But yeah, it will be a very tough game. But I don't think Austin Sachs have, the county talent that's available in Kerry, like the likes of the obvious ones, Clifford O'Shea, aren't in that Austin Sachs team. The main players probably Kieran Donaghy, who's nearing 40. In Dr. Crokes, probably Mihal Burns, Tony Brosnan would be the main players there. Kieran's O'Reilly's, I think Tommy Walsh is there as well. So that'll be a tough assignment. And I suppose the main aim for the Cork football, because it's realistic, is to get in the All-Ireland series. Like Nemo, after all, have got to a final against Corfin. They got hammered at it, but still they got to a final. They then played Corfin in the semi-final in 2020, lost that, but still, like, Nemo have been notorious for that. But don't forget the Bars have as well. Like, they've won club championships, I'm sure, in the 80s or something like that, when they had the likes of Jimmy Barry Murphy in their team. They're a very historic club going down the years in Cork. So, look, their aim, whoever makes it out, St Finbarrs or Clonakilty, but probably to get into the All-Ireland series. And looking at it, Corfin are gone, Ballymun are gone, Trillick are gone in Tyrone. Some of the main clubs, Guido and Donegal as well, are gone. Rathos and Meath are gone. So really only Kilcoo from down remain. Out of Crossbay is another team that are gone, of course. Westport and Mayo are gone. So there's a lot of teams gone. And I think, especially the Bars, if they make it through, the players they have will fancy their chances of an All-Ireland. I don't think they will, no, because they are slacking in a bit of areas all over the pitch to win an All-Ireland. But still, look at the club championship, the unpredictability of it. Anything is possible, frankly.
Yeah, like what you said there. Like, I mean, there is a real chance for a Cork team to go on a bit of a run and maybe make it to an All-Ireland final or potentially win it, because, like, I do think it's probably going to be one of the most open All-Ireland club football championships ever. Like, I think you're looking at a lot of new sides in there that have never been there before, or their first time that they've been there in like 20, 30, maybe plus years. Like, and yeah, like what you said, I think there's probably going to be a lot of shocks. There's going to be a lot of teams going into those provincial club championships as well that have, you know, just fresh off huge county championship wins. And we see that sometimes with some teams in Dublin, you come through such a tough club championship that you almost get cock-holed at times in your provincial championship. And I think that's how you've seen the likes of Mullinachta and Rathnew kind of produce big wins and their Leinster club provincial championship. So I honestly predict we're going to see more of that. We're going to see more unpredictable results in games, and it could leave an opportunity. I mean, maybe one of the Cork teams will get caught. Maybe they'll be the perfect example. Maybe they'll get caught by the Clare or the Tipperary champions. But there is a real opportunity, I think, for one of the Cork sides to go on a bit of a run. But like what you said, a lot of very good teams in there, and a lot of teams as well that a lot of people won't know too much about. And I think that's probably going to be the big test for, I suppose, a lot of senior managements going into the All-Ireland series.
It absolutely is. And we've seen case in point example with the Cork champions, especially Nemo, I think, beat the Kerry champions, if I'm not mistaken, in the semi-final one year, and then go into the final and then lose to Clonmel Commercials from Tipperary. They have some talented players, don't get me wrong. The likes of Michael Quinlivan, obviously, but still it was a huge shock that Nemo lost that game. And a one to watch, this is not related to Cork, but a one to watch in the club championship this season. I've watched the TG Carr, Ballinamore from Leitrim. They look a very good side. Their shooting accuracy was absolutely incredible in that Leitrim game in the final. And they definitely have the players. They have the tenacity. They have the skill. They showed it live to national television. I think they could be the dark horses this season. I genuinely believe that. I know people will say Leitrim football, like they got beat by 24 points against Mayo. That goes out the window with this club championship. If the team is good enough, if they have the tenacity, if they get the shooting right, like they did against Mohill in that Leitrim final, anything's possible. And for me, I think they'll be the dark horses going into the championship. I don't know what you think about that yourself, Aaron.
Yeah, that is definitely a very interesting one. All right, like, I suppose, and I'm sure we will record a podcast at some stage maybe to discuss this and kind of run through all the big games and all the talking points. But yeah, like, one of my kind of dark horses is Scottstown out of Monaghan. I feel like they're a side to watch out for. I feel like with, you know, Rory Began and the Hugheses and whatnot, like, coming out of there, like, I think they're definitely a team to watch out for. But yeah, you never know. Like, I watched that Leitrim final as well, and they're a very good side. I think they're coming up against Mount Ballymoylock, isn't it, in the semi-finals, I think. And you just never know. Like, you'd look at Mount Ballymoylock as the obvious favourites given the players that they have, but at the same time, you just never know. Like, there's always shocks in these club championships, and maybe Ballinamore might pull it off. And I suppose it'd be, you know, you could just imagine Andy Moore and they're celebrating on the pitch with the Ballinamore lads as they beat a Galway team. Like, it'd probably be the most romantic thing ever, and maybe the Mayo fans might get involved as well. I don't know.
Absolutely. That's the beauty of the club championship. And even I go back to that AIB ad, I want to be, you know, in Croke Park and Paddy's Day, Mount Leinster Rangers, I believe, from Carlow. Like, stories like that in the club championship just grip the nation. And it's absolutely incredible. And I think it deserves more praise from social media accounts like yours, like mine, like RT Sports or like TG Carr. It definitely deserves more plaudits. And even someone was suggesting to me there should be a Sunday game for these club games. I know that'll be probably impossible because, as we mentioned earlier in the chat, there's so many club games all around the country. But I think that'd be absolutely brilliant to have, because the club championship, especially this year, more than any other year, has been absolutely incredible. The shocks in it, the entertainment, the quality, it's been absolutely superb.
Yeah, no, I agree with you as well. Like, and I know TG Cahir have that Monday night show where they show highlights of a number of different games. But yeah, that would be a great thing to do, wouldn't it? Something like the Sunday club game, or I don't know what way they'd rebrand it or rephrase it, but it would definitely be something they could do. And definitely something to look forward to. But sure, look, listen, we'll wrap this up here anyways. Matthew, I'll link down your podcast down below for anyone to check it out. And yeah, cheers for coming on.
Thanks very much, Aaron. Thanks for having me on your channel once again today.